Black Army officer pepper sprayed in traffic stop, accuses officer of assault. This is a New York Times story. Karan Nazario, lieutenant in the U.S. Army Medical Corps, was driving to Petersburg, Virginia, from a drill weekend when he saw police lights flashing behind him. Too nervous to stop on a darkened road, Lieutenant Nazario, who is black and Latino, drove about a mile to a gas station, pulled over, and placed his cell phone on his dashboard. Immediately, 2 Windsor police officers can be heard yelling orders at him. Lieutenant Nazario then says, "I'm honestly afraid to get out of the car." "Yeah, you should be," says one of the officers, according to the footage from his body camera. Seconds later, the officer accused doused the lieutenant with pepper spray. Lieutenant Nazario's hands remained up as he coughed and pleaded with the officer to undo his seatbelt and made sure the dog Smoke was not choking in the back. Lieutenant Nazario has filed a lawsuit accusing the officers of illegally searching his car, using excessive force, and violating his rights under the First Amendment. The lawsuit seeks $1 million in compensatory damages. Kai, pull up the video. Let's take a look at this. So this is a shorter video that we can show. I want you to see this, and I want to have a reaction to this, but I want you to see this here. The longer one is 31 minutes. We're just going to use a 5-minute one. We may not even watch the whole thing, but we'll watch some of the clips of it. Lower the audio a little bit, Kai. Okay, pull up. Go a little bit fast, like, yeah, there you go. This is good.
Felony traffic stop. Put your hands out the window. Felony traffic stop, 1836. Put your hands out the window.
Kai, fast forward a little bit. A little more. A little more.
How many occupants are in your vehicle? Open the door slowly and step out. Open the door. Get out the car. Open the door slowly and get out.
This is December 5th, 2020, so 4 months ago. The guy that's screaming was a corporal in the Marines. His wife was a sailor in the Navy. Not the guy on camera, the guy in the back that has the camera.
Outside the window. Keep your hands outside the window.
The guy screaming is a former Marine.
Get out of the car now.
Get out of the car.
Now.
He has both of his hands out.
He's in army fatigues. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can see
he's
that
in army
screen.
fatigues.
You can
Yep.
see that.
Yo, what? Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey. Get out of the car.
Yep. Watch this.
Get out of the car now. What's going on? Is you fixing to ride the lightning, son?
When you say you're about to ride the lightning.
Ride the lightning, son. He's going to
Get out
tase
of the
him.
car now. Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Sir, just get out the car. Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out the car.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out.
You should
Get
be.
out.
Get out the car.
Get out
I
now.
have not committed any crime.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest for. You're being detained. Okay, you're being detained for obstruction of justice.
Traffic violation. I do not have
By the way, the guy's being so reasonable.
Really?
Why I'm being stopped.
Really?
Get
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
your hands off me.
Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me.
You know what?
Get your hands off me.
Not a problem.
Hands off me.
Back up,
I
Daniel.
didn't do anything. Don't do that.
Sir.
Get out of the car now.
Okay, watch this.
Get out of the car now.
Sir, look.
I'm trying to talk
Get out.
to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to
I'm gonna
talk.
talk.
Get out.
Just get out of my
Relax.
car.
Can you please
Get out.
relax? Can
Get
you
out.
Please relax.
Get out of the car right now. Now.
This is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me.
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do anything.
Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Daniel.
What's going? Hold on. Watch it.
Spraying pepper spray in
Yeah.
his face.
Oh, gosh.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up.
There's
Get
a
out of
better
the car
angle,
now.
Kai.
Sir, just get out the car.
I'm trying to breathe.
Get out of the car now.
Fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, get out of the car and get on the ground now. You're gonna get it again.
I don't even want to reach for my seatbelt.
I don't blame
Take
him.
your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Can you please?
Get out of the car now.
You can't see pepper
No.
spray in his eyes. He's struggling.
Listen, take off your seatbelt and get out of the car.
Look, I'm just gonna please.
He
You're gonna
knows
do
if he
what you're
puts
told.
his
Get out
hands
of the
down,
car.
then somebody can shoot him and
Take your seatbelt
potentially
off and
say,
get out of the- take
watch
your
this.
Seatbelt off.
Look, my hands are out.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Hands are out.
Don't reach in there, Daniel. Don't reach in there.
My hands are out. Please.
There's a gun in here, by the way. He has a gun in here, and they know they saw it.
This is really messed up. My dog is in the back.
He's a first
My
lieutenant
dog is
officer.
choking right
Get
now.
out of the car.
There's a dog in the
Take your
trunk.
seatbelt off.
Smoke
What are you, a
is his
specialist,
name.
Corporal? What are you?
I'm a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, get out of the car.
Says, what are you, a
Take your
specialist,
seatbelt
a
off and get out
corporal?
of
He
the
says, I'm a
car.
lieutenant.
You made this way more difficult than it had to be if you just comply.
Specialist is an E4.
Reaching for my seatbelt.
A
Fine.
first lieutenant,
Take
you
your
have to go to
seatbelt off and get
college
out
to
of
get
the
a
car.
degree, then you become a lieutenant.
Straight onto the ground.
Says a good
Straight
citizen
onto the
here.
ground.
Ma'am, is your commanding officer available?
Down. Let's go.
Is your commanding
Let's
officer
go.
available?
Being
Get on
respectful.
the ground. Get on the
Can you
ground.
please talk to
Get
me
on the
about what's
ground
going
now.
on?
Get on the ground or you're getting sprayed again. Get on the ground.
Can you please talk to me about what's
Get on
going
the ground.
on?
Get on the ground now.
Can you please talk to me about what's going on? Can you please talk to me about what's going on?
Extremely respectful, still the entire time.
What's going on? Why am I being treated like this? Why?
Because you're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why
Kai,
am I
fast
being
forward.
treated like this? This is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is fucked up.
Okay. Unfortunately, we can't show the whole clip because we were trying to get approval on the other video to get approval. We haven't gotten it back yet. But when you see the whole clip, eventually at the end, the cop tries to explain to him, look, I understand where you are. Why did you do this to yourself? You did this to yourself. You shouldn't have done this. You did this to yourself. If you would have listened, this would have never happened, et cetera, et cetera. And the guy's just sitting there saying, dude, he didn't say nothing. He's just staying quiet. You have two options. I can either do this or I can file charges. If I do, I know how the Army's going to react. As a first lieutenant, this may be bad for your career. So what do you want to do? And the guy's like, you're not giving me any choice. I have to read you both choices. And they eventually walk him to the back to make sure Smoke is doing good. Smoke is doing good. They stay with him for 20 to 40 minutes, and then eventually the guy apparently leaves, and he's now asking for $1 million. The footage comes out. But what do you react when you see something like this? Either one of you guys. How do you react to this?
You know, there's so much divisiveness in our country. Blue lives matter, black lives matter, social justice, getting woke, diversify, this, that, you know. I'm a cop, I support the troops. There's so much of that. And at the end of the day, and this highlights it all, it's like, all right, are you on the side of our troops? Or are you on the side of the cops? Well, they're fighting against each other in this instance. So which one is it? And I think really what it comes down to is right and wrong. And I think anyone watching this knows that the cops were wrong in that situation. And I'm sure there's going to be people that are saying, no, the cop was right and the guy. But from a layman's perspective, just from a human perspective, the cops are like, they can escalate a situation or they can de-escalate a situation.
Yep.
I don't know what they're taught, and this is, I try to have zero interaction with the cops for that, Matt. Like, I rarely interact with cops. When I do, it's...
Do you like cops or do you not like cops?
Traditionally, I would have said I don't like cops.
Okay.
I'm just being honest.
All right.
Because every time I've been dealt with a cop, it's been a situation like that. Pulled over in a car. I've had guns drawn at me before. Driving through Miami, they thought I was a drug dealer or whatever. Like, I've had bad incidents with cops. A cop I never see him at a shop. They're like, "Hey, how's your day going? Good." Yeah. So that's my perspective. But I understand that 99% of cops are good cops. So I get that that's a bad perspective to have. I get it. But you can escalate a situation or you can de-escalate a situation. Like we talked about earlier in the show about, do people want to be told what to do or do they want to choose what to do? So when you have a cop yelling 1,000 times, get on the ground, do what you're told, obey your orders. And the guy's like, look, man, you can see what I'm wearing here. I'm a lieutenant in the Army. Can we just have a conversation? And the cop has zero reasonable qualities. Get out. Like, what is that? I'm asking a question, like, what is that? Why can't he say, hey, look, man, we pulled you over because of this. Here's what we need you to do. We understand that you're a lieutenant or a sergeant. We'd like you to comply. But they're just freaking out on this guy, spraying pepper spray in his face. It's disgusting. The guy's going to likely win the lawsuit.
Tom.
The most dangerous thing that the police do, factually and statistically, is walk up to a car they pulled over. That is the most dangerous thing that they do. And at night, it's even more dangerous. However, cops can't be on ego drive and ego trips about who they are and what they do. In this case, They followed the guy. He did not pull over immediately. He was concerned, so he goes to a well-lit gas station and is cooperating with a quiet voice with his hands outside in full visibility. In this case, the most dangerous thing they do is walk up to a vehicle. The police have an obligation to do their job properly, and they didn't. They could just walk up and they could have de-escalated this. The police could have de-escalated it. And now, with a reasonable guy being reasonable, keeping his hands there where we can see him, any other occupants, no sir, there's not, my dog's in the back. Then they pepper spray him from 6 feet away when they can see him in a compliant pose. These cops escalated it when they were concerned when they pulled him over. They didn't know what they had. And he apparently didn't pull over for a mile. So they didn't know what they had.
But he said he wanted to get to a well-lit area.
But that's right. It's a very well. That was actually safer for the cop and safer
Rather
for the
than
guy.
pulling over on a dirt
They could
road
see
on the side of the
everything.
road.
And so the cops, even if they're nervous about it, hey, this guy's not pulling over at first. What are we going to do? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Okay, fine. But once you're there, you as a police officer, if you're going to be a cop and you're going to continue to be a cop, you have to play both sides. You have to calm yourself down, even as you're getting yourself amped up to protect yourself and your partner. But you have to then de-escalate, and you have to do it properly all the time. They didn't, and I think it's disgusting that they pepper sprayed the guy from 6 feet while being completely compliant and showing his hands.
So
that part of it is way out of line.
So here's what I think. Years ago, a year ago, we brought in Mark Lamb. I don't know if you remember Mark Lamb. Not even a year ago, maybe like 10 months ago.
Sheriff Mark Lamb?
Sheriff Mark Lamb.
He called into the show, I believe.
He called into the show, and we brought him on, and I interviewed him right after when they talked about the defunding of the police, right? Hey, we need to defund the police. So I brought him in, and I interviewed him, and I cannot tell you how much hate letters I got, email. How dare you put a guy like this on at a time like this? America going through this, and you would highlight a cop like him. And even we heard from one of his friends from the past. Okay, we're like, listen, we don't want to participate in this. Calling us, giving recording, we don't want anything like this. We just did an interview, is what we did here, right? So the same people that got upset at Officer Lamb, the opposing party's like, well, listen, we're so glad you brought him on because it's about defunding the police. Nobody, we shouldn't defund the police. This I highlight here, and people come back will say, why would you show something like this? That's so divisive. This is how I believe media needs to be. You need to give both sides on what's going on and call out when somebody fully screws up. Let me explain to you what happened in this situation here. I don't know what it is to be black. You don't know what it is to be from Iran, looking like me, okay? I don't know what it is to be white. I don't know what it is to be Norway. I don't know what it is to be from Venezuela, from Colombia, from Mexico, from else. I don't know what it is. All I know how to be is to be Middle Eastern, half Armenian, half Assyrian, from Iran, who looks like this, with this nose, with this ear. I don't look like the average human. I look like I'm a Middle Eastern. This is all I know what to look like. Have I gotten people that have, what do you call it, stereotypes, you know, racial, prejudice? Yeah, of course. You know, was it a lot of jokes in the military? Hey, did you go to school on a donkey? You know, are you like a camel jockey? I'm like, dude, I've never seen a camel in my life, but I get it. You know, you're saying whatever you're saying. Right. Fine, I get it. Have I heard all those things? I have. Are you fresh off the boat? I'm a pretty good swimmer, by the way. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm fresh off the boat, but I'm a good damn swimmer, right? I don't know what it is to be black. I have no idea what it is to be black. I don't. I don't know what it is to have cops pulling you over at a time like this in December. By the way, this is not right now where things are calmer. This is December, right after election when all the protesting still going on. You got Capitol, all this stuff, and this guy's getting pulled over. He's sitting there thinking, I'm about to go. His grandma was a former NYPD for 30 years, by the way, if you listen to the whole story. This guy right here, he loves America. This is a pro-America guy that loves America. He's just saying, dude, I do not want to get pulled over in a dark place. Let me go to a gas station. You go to a gas station, the guy pulls over you, you do what you do to him. I mean, then let's talk about the cops. Let's look at the cops. What are the cops worried about? So the cops worried about what? What do you, if you know it's extremely sensitive, what the hell are you doing overreacting? Remember one time I got pulled over by a cop in Plano? I said, I've never been pulled over by a nice cop like this before, and it was uncomfortable. Do you remember when I talked about it on a podcast?
Too nice.
He was being too nice. I'm like, why are you being so nice? He says, you don't know the climate right now of being a cop. I have to overly be nice. He says, may I please get the license? Sir, thank you so much for cooperating. I'm like, this sounds like customer service at like a place that makes no sense. Now,
Nordstrom's is now training cops.
Yeah. Neiman Marcus type of customer service. It made no sense to me, the cop that he handled me in Plano. I'm like, dude, I was speeding. That was reckless driving. I went over the side of the road. Everything you're saying, I did. So why are you being so nice? I was being a little reckless the way I drove. I was. So he's like, here's a ticket. It was a pretty good sized ticket, points, all this other stuff. I have to deal with that. Okay, great. No problem. I deserved the fine that I got, but I was concerned why the cop was so scared. So that's far one side. This is far the complete opposite side. Now, let's talk about a different part about this. Had a friend of mine years ago. I'm not going to say his name. I had a friend of mine years ago. We were very close, to the point we partied every weekend together. We were close together, very, very close. I'm talking 20 years ago. This guy was the biggest sweetheart, Adam, I knew. Biggest sweetheart I knew. When I say sweetheart, I'm talking sweetheart. And guess what he did for a living? He was a nurse. Guess what he ends up becoming after being a nurse? Let
me guess, a cop?
A cop, okay? When I tell you the biggest sweetheart, I'm not telling you it was the biggest sweetheart because it just sounds good. Maybe one of the top 5 biggest sweethearts I know in my life was this guy. Then he becomes a cop. Then he gets the badge. Then he gets the gun. Then I go out to lunch with him 6 months later. A little different, the way he talked to the customer, the way he talked to the waitress. 6 months later, a little different, the way he talked to people. 2 years later, a little different. 3 years later, a little different. 4 years later, temper, flaring regularly. What the hell is going on to this guy? This is not the guy I was friends with. 5 years later, a little worse. Then eventually gets fired, okay?
From the police force?
From the police force.
Wow.
And that rarely happens. There was some controversy there. But anyways, I will tell you, that badge and the gun that gives you that kind of power reveals a lot of deep, dark sides of a human being that's not ready to be a cop. They're just not. So on one end, it comes up from the guy that's running it, the chief, on how they shape the mindset of a cop. If the chief says, we are the badge, we have the gun, they better listen to you or else you drop their asses, these mother... Okay, yeah. If you're teaching me like that, dude, you're firing me. I'm like, oh my gosh. But if you're saying, hey, these are citizens, we work for the city, the taxpayers are paying for us, we got to make sure we respect everybody. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. You got to be a little bit paranoid. You got to be careful.
And it may not be easy, but that's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do.
Serve and protect.
Yeah, I'm going to Newport Beach one time. I'm going to Newport Beach with a business meeting I was at, and I'm speaking on this yacht. I'm 21 years old, 22 years old. I got 7 people in my car. We're all suited up. We're young. We're 21, 22 years old. We're driving down to Newport. I bet a couple of the friends are going to remember this event if they're listening to the podcast right now. We're driving down to Newport. Guy pulls me over. He comes to the side with gun pointing at the cars like this. I'm like, he comes like, put your hand on the steering wheel. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm not in a place to talk to me like that at 21 years old. I was not reasonable.
You just got out of the military?
I just got out of the military. I'm like, dude, I am on fire. Like, I am on fire at this time, right? So I put my hands on the steering. I said, what the hell are you doing? So what the hell are you doing? Are you a rookie? How long you been a cop? Tell me. You look like you're a rookie cop. How long you been a cop? Are you a rookie cop? You're a rookie cop, ain't you? So him and I start going at it. And my guys are like, Pat, calm down, calm down, calm down. They're right. I was overreacting, but I was pissed off. You a rookie cop? You a rookie cop. Why are you pulling me over? You went 70. I'm like, it's 65. He said, well, you're going 5 miles over speed. I said, you cannot tell me you're giving me a speeding ticket at 70 going 65 on a 405. I am. I said, there's a bunch of people going faster than me. He said, well, it's like fishing. Sometimes when you fish, you don't catch all the fish. You're the fish I caught today. I'm like, this mother. I said, okay, give me the ticket. I want to show it to court because I want to see what the hell you're going to do about it. So I go to court, and he's there. And I'm asking everybody, officer, do you know who that is? I do. How long has he been a cop? He's a newer cop. Oh, he's a newer cop, yeah. Anyways, the judge gives me all this stuff so I told you we're a rookie cop. You gave a ticket at 70, going 70 years old, 70 miles at a 65, and you come up with a gun with 6 people sitting in the back with all suited up. What the hell are you doing? This is exactly why cops get a bad rep sometimes. Now,
gosh.
Somebody comes into our house a few months ago. Cops show up, 3 of them. Okay, everyone's concerned. Cops show up. Sir, is everything okay? You guys comfortable? Do you need us to stay here? Ma'am, is there anything you want us to do? You want us to walk through every room? Please, I will do that. Matter of fact, how about I do that so you're comfortable? Melva, are you okay? They went up, walk. Anything else you need, here's our number. Give us a call. We're here to help you. The most ridiculous experience. 80% of my experiences with cops have always been good. 20% of them have been bad. Of the 20% that have been bad, probably 80% of it was because I was being bad. So that was at a different phase of my life where I was acting like a fool. So you understand how the math went right there. 80, 20, 20, 80 of it was my fault, so 20 of it wasn't my fault. It's a very slim margin. But when you do things like this and it goes on camera, you officially hurt other cops that get the reputation, and a media station shows this to the world, and they don't tell the story the right way. They spin it as all the cops are like this. And then everyone reacts. Then there's division. Then we have what we have today in America. Go ahead.
Are you noticing a similarity in your stories, in my stories, and the stories that we're showing? Where are all these bad incidents happening? On the frickin' road, in a car. Cops show up to your house.
Yeah.
Okay, because you cover a burglary or whatever. They're, you know, like that. Rarely happens, and they're there to diffuse what happened, what's going on, for whatever reason. The like you said, most incidents happen in the car.
Statistically, the most dangerous thing a cop does is come to the window of your car.
We're keying in on what the fear is from cops and from drivers. And like you said, I've never been black. You've never been black. This guy is scared to get out of his car, and he's a freaking lieutenant in the Army.
First lieutenant.
Okay? Imagine if you're just a normal guy in Atlanta or Illinois or California, and you're just on the road and you're going 70 in a 65, and the cop pulls you over, draws the gun, and you've seen a million of these freaking stories. How are you supposed to react? You know, black people, you know, they have the talk. You always hear about, I have to talk with my kids. I have to talk with my kids.
You were talking about that last night, the Michael Strahan talk.
Michael Strahan, 10 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. The talk used to be, all right, look, you're going to grow up and you're going to meet a girl and the birds and the bees. The talk these days, if you're in a black household, is you're going to get mother-freaking pulled over, and this is how you need to speak to them. Talk. Like, this is a thing now. This is reality. So you can't dismiss how people feel. And if a lieutenant is scared to get out of the car, serving America, imagine, just put yourself in the shoes of just a normal black person in America, how they would feel. Okay? You've had a bad incident with a cop in a car. I've had a ton of them to the point where I can't even drive a car at this point.
So a person saying right now, the guy clearly didn't follow the instructions and he should have opened the door. See, the challenge, that's the first thing I said. But if you watch the whole 31-minute clip, which I highly recommend, I don't know what channel it is. Let's give a shout out to, matter of fact, put it in below so people can watch it afterwards. Just watch the whole 31-minute clip to see what happens. The reason why he didn't automatically open the door is because when you open the door, the gun is here. So imagine if he opens the door and they see the gun, they react. The guy knows there's going to be a reaction. So there was a gun in there. All his gear was in the back. He was moving because he was getting orders to go to a different place. So you kind of have to see the whole story.
By the way, that's a legally owned weapon.
It is. But still, you open it, you see a reaction, and somebody shoots. You're panicking in that moment. Nobody knows what it's like to have. Only a few people in the world have been held gun. You know, you don't know how to react when that's taking place. It's a very weird reaction, and people react in a different way. All of us can say whatever to say, he should have done this, but there's a little bit more to the story. Look, I'm a guy that defends cops 90% of the time. I love great cops. I sleep better at night because of great cops. I travel better because of great cops. I have put great events together because of great cops. Great cops have taken care of me and my family my entire life. I'm a byproduct of great cops. Cops like this need to get trained better, need to get, you know, the same way I say the teachers, terrible teachers need to be fired?
Yeah.
Terrible cops need to be fired ASAP. Terrible cops who cannot handle, like, you know how you do pressure type of training? I'm watching a video this morning of the guy, who's the guy that he came up with the torturing thing. What's his expertise? James Mitchell is the guy that came up with CIA's method to
waterboard?
Enhanced interrogation. This guy. Very interesting story he's got there, right? So the interviewer says, before I interview you, I want her to be waterboarded. So he goes and gets waterboarded, okay? Just to kind of get a feel. By the way, I wouldn't mind doing that just to know what it feels like.
Wow.
So he gets waterboarded.
That's an episode right there.
Then he does the interview, okay? Then he says, it's terrible being waterboarded, right? He's explaining to him what it's like to be waterboarded. It's like, dude, the reaction to this was absolutely insane. Okay, so what should we do? Should we get rid of the bad guys? Should we keep these bad guys? Should we do this? I think cops who are doing things like this, they should get fired. I think bad teachers should be fired. I think we need to just clean house. If you cannot handle being rattled in a high-pressure type situation, you are not qualified to be a cop.
And that's not your job.
That's not simply your job. You need to go do something else, but definitely not be a cop. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.